Hi there and welcome. I'm Rabbi Nachomet with the Las Vegas Kollel. The Chafetz Chaim in his introduction points out that for the last 2,000 years, our gullus, our exile, has been so difficult. How much suffering, how much persecution the Jewish people over generations, how much trouble we've had, how many difficulties we've had to endure generation after generation. And we know the Chafetz Chaim points out, whenever we suffer, whenever there's difficulties in the world, it's not because God hates us, it's not because God is capriciously sending us challenges, but rather it's always a direct result of our spiritual shortcomings. And the Chafetz Chaim points out the reason for our gullus, the reason that the Jews have suffered and we've been in such a difficult situation for the last 2 millennia is clearly because of our spiritual shortcomings, our transgressions. The Chafetz Chaim asks, what is the lead transgression? What's the most serious sin that collectively as Jews we have failed with that resulted in this gullus, in this exile for the last 2,000 years? And the Chafetz Chaim argues it's got to be Lashon Hara. It's the sin of speaking negatively about one another, about gossiping, about Lashon Hara. The Chafetz Chaim points out, he says, I'll prove it to you. We know that the second Beis HaMikdash, as we've discussed, the second temple was destroyed because of the transgression, because of the sin of Lashon Hara. The Chafetz Chaim says it makes sense, it stands to reason that it's not going to be rebuilt. The exile isn't going to come to an end until we rectify that transgression. If the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed because of Lashon Hara, it's not going to be rebuilt until we rectify the sin of Lashon Hara. If we were exiled from our land, if we were dispersed amongst the nations in the great diaspora of the last 2,000 years, it's reasonable to assume, says the Chafetz Chaim, we're not going to make it back. The gullus, the exile won't end till we go ahead and we improve on this area of speaking Lashon Hara, of speaking negatively about one another. The gullus, the exile, if we think about all the persecutions and the difficulties, we all pray 3 times a day, and we pray for God to return us back to Israel with all the glory. And we go ahead and we've been yearning for so many centuries. The Chafetz Chaim is telling us if we want to do our part, making sure that we go ahead and we can bring Mashiach Tzidkenu, we can do what we can to go ahead and bring that redemption, to go ahead and bring that salvation. The first thing that we need to do is make sure we're speaking properly, we're speaking kindly about one another.